The United States Department of Justice is assembling a dedicated task force to go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs. We're joining with European allies to find and seize their yachts, their luxury apartments, their private jets. We're coming for your ill-begotten gains.
President Joe Biden issued an emotional plea to Russian President Vladimir Putin to refrain from going to war with Ukraine, warning of the needless death and destruction Moscow may cause. What else did he say? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel, Warzone. In today's video, we are going to tell you about Joe Biden's last warning to Russia. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our incredible videos. Vladimir Putin, a commander-in-chief with an estimated 1,588 deployed nuclear warheads and 2,889 in reserve, made an apocalyptic threat on February 27th by activating Russia's nuclear forces and switching the Russian army's deterrence forces to a special mode of combat duty. It was the Russian dictator's second alarming threat in a week, and he has no restrictions on his decision-making. He had previously threatened that any country interfering in this conflict in Ukraine would face consequences you have never expected in your history. Even as the two sides gather in Belarus for the second round of face-to-face talks since the invasion began 8 days ago, Russian forces pushed their way on Ukraine on Thursday, seizing a vital harbor. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on Ukrainians to maintain their fight in a video message to the nation earlier in the day. But he didn't say whether the Russians had occupied any cities. There will be no peace here, Zelensky warned, encouraging Russian troops to return home. Meanwhile, his aide urged compatriots to adopt guerrilla tactics against Russian forces, cutting down trees and destroying Russian troops' rear columns. Only the United States, the world's only other nuclear power, has the same capabilities: 1,644 deployed warheads and 1,964 in reserve. However, no president of the United States has ever made such a threat. Until this week, no Russian or Soviet leader had ever spoken anything so terrifying. The United States and Russia agreed to maintain mutually assured destruction in the New START Treaty, which was signed in 2010, or MAD. A nuclear war cannot be won by either country. A nuclear exchange would entirely destroy both countries, as well as much of the rest of the world. Only a crazed person would consider launching a nuclear assault on either the US or Russia. Putin's threat demonstrates his dissatisfaction and desperation. He made a mistake by invading Ukraine. He is now profoundly isolated after 22 years in power, surrounded only by yes-men who have cut him off from accurate knowledge about the resilience of the Ukrainian people, the resolve of the West, the low morale for his army for his war, and the unpopularity of the senseless invasion within Russian society. The initial assault has not gone as planned. Putin now feels obligated to double down, both in terms of military strategy and rhetoric. His recent emotional outburst shows he's in a state of flux. The idea of initiating a nuclear catastrophe is never mentioned by rational leaders. President Joe Biden announced harsh new sanctions on Russia on Thursday, aimed at punishing the country for its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, while also criticizing Russian President Vladimir Putin for his aggression. However, Biden acknowledged that the new sanctions would take time to change Putin's behavior. The new sanctions include export blocks on technology, a centerpiece of Biden's approach that he said would severely limit Russia's ability to advance its military and aerospace sector. He also applied sanctions on Russian banks and corrupt billionaires and their families who are close to the Kremlin. Putin is the aggressor in this situation. Putin selected this conflict, and now he and his country will pay the price. Biden warned, outlining a series of steps that will impose substantial costs on the Russian economy, both immediately and over time. Putin has a long history of high-risk behavior, including authorizing assassination attacks across Europe, ordering an invasion in Syria with alleged war criminals, interfering in multiple US and European elections, poisoning political opponents in Russia with chemical weapons, and invading Georgia and Ukraine twice, followed by annexation and recognition of regions of both countries as independent entities. His decision-making is distinguished by his propensity to take chances and his contemptuous disdain for counsel now more than ever. Putin believes he has only one counterpart, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and one central foe, US President Joe Biden, on the international scene. He had cordial contacts with various Western politicians earlier in his career, including German Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder, Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, and even President George W. Bush for a while. Apart from Z, he has no respect for any other world leader today. He's alone, and he doesn't seem to pay any attention to anyone. Intelligence professionals are responsible for assessing the likelihood of various security scenarios, including nuclear war. These estimations, in my opinion, are still incredibly low. Policymakers' role is to shape and reduce these possibilities, even if they are at 0.1%. The horrors of being mistaken about nuclear weapons are too enormous to not do everything possible to decrease the chances of it happening. First, Biden was correct in declining to elevate the alert level of U.S. nuclear forces in response to Putin's threats. This strategy of moderation should be maintained by him and European leaders. Matching Putin's manic warning with others accomplishes no purpose and merely adds to international concern. Second, every nuclear power in the world should contact Moscow personally to inquire about Russia's attitude. The first major nuclear power signed a new declaration in January that stated that nuclear weapons should serve defensive reasons, discourage aggression, and avoid war, and that none of our nuclear weapons are targeted against each other or any other state. Every signatory to the declaration, particularly Z, should phone Putin to confirm his commitment to it. These leaders should also remind Putin of Russia's commitments to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, given the troubling and possibly rigid referendum in Belarus this week that reversed the country's non-nuclear status. Parallel to that, and perhaps more importantly, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark A. Milley, should call his Russian counterpart, Chief of the Russian General Staff, General Valery Gersimov, for the same guarantees. The same should be done with Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, according to Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Third, Biden must privately convey to Putin that the U.S. and Western nations are willing to ease sanctions if Putin withdraws his troops from Ukraine. This promise should be rescinded if Putin continues to butcher innocent civilians or arrests and kills President Volodymyr Zelensky and his government. Putin, on the other hand, should be allowed a path out of the corner he has found himself in today. Regrettably, Putin's increasingly erratic rhetoric, along with brutal war methods, suggests that he is uninterested in finding alternatives to his conflict in Ukraine. Let's hope he can still be convinced to refrain from threatening to use nuclear weapons in the future. Additional sanctions against Russia and Belarus have been issued by the White House, including the extension of export bans on Russia, oil refining, and entities that help both countries' militaries. In addition to Europe and Canada, the United States is shutting its airspace to Russian planes. Airbus and Boeing both announced that they would stop supplying spare parts and technical support to the country's airlines. The vast bulk of Russia's passenger fleet is made up of Airbus and Boeing aircraft from France and the United States, respectively. From Apple to Mercedes-Benz and BP, a rising number of world's most well-known firms are exiting a country that has become a global outcast. All of Volkswagen Group's business activities in Russia have been suspended, including those of subsidiary Skoda Auto, which has halted car manufacturing in its 2 Russian plants, as well as all exports to Russia. We sincerely hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a like and share it with your friends and family. Let us know if you have any questions or comments in the section below. We'll see you in the next video, and pray for peace.